This week's presentation, Old Age Ain't No Place for Sissies, presented by Loretta Downs. Loretta will tell us how we can prepare ourselves for the changes we can expect as we get older, and more importantly, those we can't. And she'll ask questions about our beliefs, attitudes, and perceptions regarding these changes and what we can do to adapt and master the skills that help ourselves and our loved ones on our final journey. Now, Loretta is a gerontologist who has been working with aging and dying for over 35 years. She is an inspiring and uplifting speaker who is passionate about improving the end-of-life experience. She has published numerous articles, been quoted in articles and books, and interviewed for radio shows and podcasts. Loretta gives advanced care planning workshops at LCS and offers her services as a death doula. This is her 11th Open Circle presentation. So please give a warm Open Circle welcome to Loretta Downs.
Thanks to the tech department, and thank you all for not being afraid to come today. I have friends who don't invite me to dinner. Obvious reasons, and I have a lot of people who do. And I have some show and tell today. So anybody here think you're old? We'll talk about denial later. According to the World Health Organization and the UN, old is 60. Yeah, so we're the Olympians of aging. Holy cow. I mean, really, we are here, we're still standing. I want to be sure I have all my equipment so I don't talk forever. Okay, that's that. Isn't that beautiful? There's a purpose you'll get later. Okay, so old age ain't for everybody. We are the Olympians of aging, and we have said goodbye to a lot of people younger than us. So we are the lucky, right? I want to define what sissy is. I thought it was interesting. Betty Davis did say that, and she lived to be in her 80s. But the definition, according to Oxford, is a soft, timid, oversensitive person, or a boy or man viewed as being overly interested in things traditionally associated with women. Interesting, women outlive men. So maybe we need some of those qualities to spread around. What is old age? Some people will say it's anyone who's 15 years older than you are. Like that. It's getting to be shaky here. Life expectancy. In 1800, it was 30 to 40 years. In 1900, it was 46. In 2000, it was around 80 for North Americans. We are living twice as long as humans did just 200 years ago. That's amazing. In 1950, the world population was 2.5 billion people. In 70 years, humans who have been around for almost 2 million years, in 70 years, we have multiplied to 8 billion people. We're chewing up our earth, burning up the earth, and the greatest population segment growth is in people over 85. Over 85. So many of us are going to live that long. I think the person just died, the oldest person in the world was 122. I don't know what kind of shape she was in. I know, just going, everyone's whoa, wow. Yeah, I don't know, that's a long time. I looked up decades and research for this. You know, from 1 to 10, your body is growing. I mean, think about we have very few memories of that first decade of our life, right? And some big things come up. It's all about just growing and learning. Like babies look around, everything is new. Like a person with dementia, everything is new. Right. In your 20s, you're getting educated, one way or another. So you're acquiring more information, getting educated, and learning about relationships. We're making friends. School friends are so much easier to make than later life friends, because you share experiences and situations, and you can commiserate with each other, help each other. 30s, you know, we're working, we're starting to look at futures and planning, and now people aren't getting married till they're 30. Really, I'm noticing that more and more. The late 20s, people are getting married, they're buying condos first, and then they're getting houses and moving to the suburbs and having kids. So what's happening to the modern youth is much later than what happened to us. I mean, when I was 20, if you weren't married, that was a little strange. People saying, well, don't you have a boyfriend? No, not. The 40s, oh my God, we've accomplished a lot. 40s are great. Did you love your 40s? Yeah. 40s, yeah. 40s are great. Things are all going well. You might have to worry about losing a job or getting a better job or, again, a relationship that's not happening, relocating. 50s, no, the American Association for Retired People sends out a letter when you're 49. Right? It's like, what is this? 50. I loved my 50s. 50 was great. I could do whatever I wanted to do, basically. And I wasn't working for somebody else, so I could really do everything I wanted to do. The 60s get a little tricky. The average 65-year-old takes 5 prescription drugs, average. And that increases with time. It's because we start getting chronic illnesses. Our, big one, heart disease. People take blood pressure pills. Diabetes starts to show up. Arthritis. I mean, that's something most of us have some of. Our biography is our biology. What happened to us in the past tends to build how we react physically and emotionally to that history. Early trauma. I think you probably read a lot. I see trauma counseling, trauma education, how to support people who've had trauma. Think about the people in that hurricane Friday. I mean, the kind of trauma that's going to go with them for the rest of their lives is going to affect their health. We again have been lucky that we've been able to sustain whatever losses we've had and get stronger because of them. We have assisted devices. Phil's a great example. Did you see he's got a hinged brace on today? It's like before he couldn't bend his leg, he was walking like this. Canes, braces, if you fall, pick me up devices. I have a friend who wears an iWatch. And how many of you have those iWatches? I'm just not ready. And it tells her kids if she's fallen and what her blood pressure is, if it's dropping. I mean, we have some amazing technology to help us these days, which go on and on. I'm old now. I'm 73 and a half. I'm officially old. And I woke up about a year and a half ago in somebody else's body. What happened here? This is like, and don't ever do a downward dog naked, because you'll just want to break all the mirrors in your house. Yeah, somebody said to me, I said, you look really healthy and good. She said, I'm getting wrinkles. And I said, that's great. Plan on getting more. Right? I mean, it is what it is. The technology isn't working. I talk with my hands, so this is not my favorite thing. And I almost went, and I said, wait a minute. It is what it is. Thank you very much for being here. I don't have to shout over this crowd. Okay, so retirement. How many of you waited until you were 65 to retire? How many took early retirement? Okay, how many of you worked longer than 65? Yeah. I'm still working, but if working involves a paycheck, then I'm not working. But yeah, we have this advantage that we are retired. We can do anything we want. I have a friend who printed business cards. Man at ease, I can do anything I want with whom I want, whenever I want. Cards. Yeah. Brave guy. In America, the retirement, United States, retirement age has been raised to 67 for people who were born after 1960. And not only are Americans, we put in more time weekly on jobs, productivity. The Canadians at 65, and France, you may have read, is having they're having protests in the street because they want to raise the retirement age from 62 to 64. And the reasoning is there are fewer workers now who are contributing to the system for the retirement funds. And that's what happened in the States too, is when they raised it to 67. Because the biggest population shift is us older people. Now I know people who hate the word senior. Really, people, gerontologists who don't like the word senior, because it's kind of condescending. Old, we have to prepare ourselves, we have to change some attitudes. Like, why did old become a bad thing? That's silly. Here in Mexico, I love it. Nobody says how old you are, they say how many years do you have. There's just this reverence for years in time. And I think that's part of our future job, is that we have to elevate elderhood. We have the true Olympians. I think it's important that we look up for role models who are doing aging well and living dreams, which every one of you and I, we're all living our dreams, aren't we? We're here. I mean, it takes a lot of courage to leave where you started and to move and walk away, basically, from all the connections that we've spent years and decades making. So how do we prepare ourselves for changes we can expect and those we can't? These are questions I ask myself all the time. First of all, there's death and taxes. We know about that. You can't change that. Our seasonal friends go back. I mean, for the next few weeks, I'm going out with friends I'm not going to see for months. And this is a loss. It's just saying goodbye. It's also practice. It's a very good practice, because one day will be the last goodbye. People won't come back. How many of you have had a close loved one die in the past year? Yeah, okay. That's the way it is. So this is also these opportunities for us to build capacity. Things we can expect. I spent years and years, when my mom lived in a nursing home, last 6 years of her life, quality years. Her body wasn't so good, but her spirit was. She said, I feel like they treat me like a queen. It was the first time in her life she wasn't the cleaning lady either. She didn't talk to me for 3 weeks after she was moved there, but we got through that. And she had a particular friend, Muriel, and every time they passed in the wheelchairs, they would say hi. And one day we were going one way, Muriel was coming another way, and they put out their hands, and they just touch. And she said, "How old are you?" to my mother, who said, 90. And she said, "Oh, you're young." And I said, "How old are you?" And she said, 93. So it is all relative. Keep that in mind. Pay attention. The way we can prepare ourselves is to learn from other people's experiences. Right now, I have 3 friends dealing with serious cancer, and one who had a very devastating stroke 5 months ago. And I'm paying a great deal of attention to their decision-making process, how they're taking treatment, what they're saying no to. 3 of them have been married for over 50 years. So the life changes that involves are worth studying, and our best teachers are each other. We are our best teachers, looking at the experiences, looking for teachable moments. Patrick Swayze, remember? He died in 57 of a pancreatic cancer. And this guy, Dirty Dancing. We all saw that. I saw it, I think, 4 times. His wife talked about realistic optimism, was how they went about his treatment and his future. And I think those are really important words. And that's how, denial doesn't help us. Running away is only a way to get in more trouble. Remember that from when you were a kid. Drills. Schools have fire drills and earthquake drills, and we need falling drills. I'm serious, we do. I was walking here last week, and there was a woman down. She hit her elbow and her knee. A friend was with her, and they both had flip-flops on. Please. Right. Oh. If they work for you, okay, but you're increasing your risk of doing something that will really cause you some trouble. Carry an in case of emergency card with you at all times. Who to call if you do fall and you're alone. A little card, just write it up. The doctor, best friend, somebody with a car, so because you're not going to be thinking. If something happens, something that's unusual, we don't normally do, have an emergency contact list available in your house where somebody who comes can see you, see who to call, see what to do. Big letters. I had a friend with dementia, and we talked about what if something happened to her husband. So we wrote big letters, the name of the nurse and doctor and who to call, and she actually twice had to use it. But we posted these signs all over the house, so it became familiar for her. Friendship is one way that we can help ourselves through the changes that we can expect. This is an article out of Bottom Line that a friend of mine gifted me. It's a wonderful publication. It leans toward the retired group. I guess that's what we're retired. And it said the key to healthy aging is friendship. Now, I have been so lucky here to make great friends. I have great friends in Chicago, but I have great friends here. And it's just, I think that's why a lot of us thrive here, because it's so easy. There's a research that was done, and it's a big research project where they studied longevity studies, and they came up with living a long life, having a large social network matters even more than exercising or losing weight. Major study. The difference between happy and unhappy people was not whether good or bad things happened to them, it was their level of social connection. And that's why the half an hour for coffee before open circle is valuable, because you can see people you haven't seen for a while, you can connect to people that you have seen and say, oh, I want to get to know you. It says waiting for friendship doesn't work. School is a great way to make friends, but you can't wait. It's especially likely to form friendships with people with whom we have repeated unplanned interactions that include shared vulnerability, like we had with classmates. It's important to talk about what's not going well. And sometimes it's hard to listen to that when a friend says, oh, I don't feel well today. Oh, well, here, let's do this, you'll feel better. Listen to that. Listen to the people who aren't having a good day. Listen to the people that are having some problems somewhere. I got an email yesterday from a friend of mine about the granddaughter of a good friend of hers. 5-year-old girl had a tonsillectomy. She was sent home and she hemorrhaged and died. Old age ain't for everyone. That is a tragedy. Her 7-year-old brother is just overwhelmed by this, parents, grandparents, everyone who knows them. It's been very difficult to process that. But the best thing anybody could do is just hold them, say, I am so sad with you. No advice. You can't understand what's happening in a situation like that. And I took it to be very grateful that I'm 73 and a half. And I haven't had such things happen to me. Lucky. That old age ain't for everyone. Vulnerability offers in the form, the risks associated with showing vulnerability in social settings are greatly outweighed by the benefits that vulnerability offers in the form of strengthened social bonds. That's all we want, right? Connection? We want connection. And being vulnerable, talking about what's not the best part of you, is healthy. It also helps transform us. What about the things we can't prepare for? We don't know. I mean, who knew about COVID a couple years ago? We had a pandemic, changed all of our lives. And I know 2 people right now who have COVID. It's not gone, but it changed everything. Climate changes. We have no idea what the results of that are going to be, but we can take action. I don't flush my toilet all the time. I mean, it's a little water saver thing. I took some grass out of my garden and put in some more patio. I mean, there are little things I think are important. Faster showers. Recycling. We've started a recycling program here. Learn about what you can recycle. There are containers all around, certainly in this area of Ivy Heap. Dementia, that's a wild card. Statistics say that half of the people over 85 are going to have some form of dementia. How many of you have known someone with dementia? Okay, there are teachers. Absolutely pay attention to the experience that those people had and make decisions for yourself should it happen to you. We cannot be in denial about this. It's going to be a big issue for all of us. And loving somebody who has dementia takes a different form. I mean, unconditional love really gets escalated there when you have to repeat the same answer to the same question 20 times a day. It is a very difficult disease, and I have no answers for it. That's why I'm saying we have to pay attention to what's going on with people. About world politics. Whoa, no control over that. When they say Taiwan just got jettisoned by its one social connection because of China, who knows? My great-nephew Brian is now my great-niece Danielle. How many of you have loved ones that have decided to change? Yeah, this is, and there was no way I was prepared for that. Didn't see it coming. Actually, my sister, his grandmother, asked me one day, "Do you think Brian's gay?" And I said, I don't know. But there was something happening. And I said, "Does it matter to you?" And she said, "No, I love him. I just want him to be happy." That's the end, that's the bottom line. To wish other people to be happy. It makes us happier. How about AI? You know, we all have these cell phones. What are they, 15 years they've been out, 20 years? Who would have thought our lives would be so dependent on a cell phone, on mobile travel? You don't have to sit at home all day waiting for somebody to call you. You can just be wherever you want to be, even in the bathroom. Oh God, I hate it when I get a call in the bathroom. Just in a public bathroom, even. Yeah. So those are things that we can't be prepared for. So the essence is to change our minds about what's bad and what's good, to turn fear into something else, to have realistic optimism and not denial. You know, I remember when breakfast for me was cigarettes and a cup of coffee. Yeah, not anymore. Yogurt, tea, berries, granola, which I love. Yeah, so it's, you know, changing our minds. We're adaptive. Human beings are incredibly adaptive. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. It's a mantra. It makes so much sense in that little bit of sentence. You know, we have to love the changes, love the wrinkles, love the aches and pains. We have to stay positive. Use faith and spirituality as a wonderful home to be in. You know, we have, autonomy is a big thing for North Americans. You know, I want to do everything my way. It's like the right or condition of self-government. It's about having choices. It's the capacity of an agent to act in accordance with objective morality rather than under the influence of desires. Autonomy is a big ethical issue in medicine today. People making their own decisions, shared decision-making with your medical team, informed consent. Those are big elements of healthcare today, and we need to participate. And I want to read something from Cahill Gilbran. It is said that before entering the sea, a river trembles with fear. She looks back at the path she has traveled, from the peaks of the mountains to the long winding road crossing forests and villages. And in front of her, she sees an ocean so vast that to enter there seems nothing more than to disappear forever. But there's no other way. The river cannot go back. Nobody can go back. To go back is impossible in existence. The river needs to take the risk to enter the ocean, because only then will fear disappear, because that's where the river will flow. But it's not about disappearing into the ocean, but of becoming the ocean. Take the chance. You know, celebrations of life are taking new forms. How many of you have attended a celebration of life after someone died? Right, they're joyful. They're like, oh, this is wonderful, all the pictures. How many of you have attended one before someone died? Yeah, I went to one not long ago, a woman here, she was in her late 60s. She had cancer, she tried chemo, after a while said, this is not gonna make me live longer well, and decided to stop. Her friend team got together and watched over her and took care of her, and I don't know, it was a month or two before she died, she had a celebration of life. She invited 60 people. There were paper flowers and the pots all around, and they had made a throne room for her with big chairs and some visitor chairs, and in front of her was a table full of trinkets and things, and next to it was a dead tree with little plastic bags with jewelry. And she told everyone to take something. Now, I barely knew this woman. She was a client, I worked with her shortly, but I took these earrings, and I will never forget her. I'll never forget that day. It was such a simple little thing, and everyone who was there has a special memory of that day. And I asked her, how do you feel about this? And she said, I'm happy, I'm going home. That's where I want to be at the end. I want to know that I'm going home, wherever that may be. I kind of think it's here. So what skills do we need to master to adapt to the changes, to live to 90 or 100? Pretty simple. It is not happiness that makes us grateful, but gratefulness that makes us happy. And how do we live gratefully? By becoming aware that every moment is a given moment, as we say. Every moment. Brother David Stendhal-Rast operates the Network for Grateful Living. I suggest you go on it. You can get a daily message from them. It's actually made me happier. Every morning, one sentence, a positive sentence. He calls joy the happiness that doesn't depend on what happens. And gratefulness is not an easy gratitude or thanksgiving, but a full-blooded, reality-based practice and choice. Practice it. People keep gratitude journals. It truly transforms the mind. They have done scientific studies. The more grateful you are, the happier you are. It changes our brain structure. The Dalai Lama, one of the happiest people in the world, the man had to run from his country. He's constantly under surveillance. He says, if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. Happiness is determined more by one's state of mind than by external events. They both agree. You know, compassion for ourselves first. I mean, there's a lot of not good enough that's been built into us from a long time ago, and it's a very hard attitude to change. But if you start being grateful and appreciative, like turning complaints into gratitude, practice this. Shift that negativity, like the microphone. I'm not liking this at all because I want to be doing that, but I'm lucky to be here talking to you and very grateful about that. Work complaint to gratitude. The basic source of all happiness is, this is the Dalai Lama again, a sense of kindness and warm-heartedness toward others. We're all the same human beings. We're born the same way. We die the same way. And we all want to lead happy lives. The key to happiness is peace of mind. So whenever you feel yourself not feeling peaceful, notice that. Try to let it go and come up with something that makes you feel peaceful. You can do it. We're adaptive. No more cigarettes and coffee for breakfast. He says happiness is found through love, affection, closeness, and compassion. Not only do humans have the capability of being happy, but the Dalai Lama believes that each human naturally has a gentle quality within them. Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu had a meeting, and the result was the Book of Joy, it's a book, and a Netflix show called Mission Joy, Finding Happiness in Troubled Times. I highly recommend you look at it. It's another practice, service, volunteering. We don't have to go to work. I mean, you can't sit home watching Netflix all day long. There's so many places that you can put energy, get purpose and meaning in our lives now that we're living twice as long as people did 200 years ago. What are we doing with all that time? Think about how you want to manifest yourself, how you want to be. This is on Franklin Roosevelt's monument. He's the guy who said a car in every garage and a chicken on every plate. He said, the test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much. It is whether we provide enough for those who have too little. Being invisible it's awful. I got invisible at 50. Nobody looked at me anymore. I used to walk down the street and want somebody to look at me. 50, no more. Don't turn any heads. That was an adjustment. Bought a red fur coat, thought that would do it. Didn't make a difference. Got a 65 Mustang convertible. Didn't make a difference. I drive down the highway and I get these guys, and the truck drivers, and they look down and go, "Hi, baby." And I said, "Okay." So I didn't keep it. I sold it to a friend. You know the starfish story? I tell this, I love this. Big storm on the ocean, and there's hundreds of starfish washed up. And in the morning, a little kid is walking by, and it's picking them up and throwing them in one at a time. And old person comes by, elder, senior, and says, "Do you think you're making a difference, child?" And the kid picked one more up and said, "I am for that one." Where there is such great need, just save somebody. Do something kind for somebody every day. It can be one of us, it can be somebody you don't know. But it will change you. Okay? I asked one of my friends who's been dealing with cancer for 5.5 years, and she's really kind of at the end of treatments. Not because they've been successful. And I asked her these questions, and she said, meditation has been key component in dealing with illness and willingness to change and accept the journey. I always want to be in the know with support, but mostly listening. Be around positive, realistic people who understand this is my journey. Can't be judgmental. We can't tell people don't do that or fight harder or try this treatment and read this book. This is my journey. Enjoy all my specials, my dog, plants, memories, and make it simple. I do need a plan and very willingly to change if necessary and express my love. I hope this helps. I'm a little high on my painkillers. Quote, listening. The adaptation that we need to make is ask for help and receive it. So tough. That's hard for me. I get a lot, I see this. Oh, let me carry that. No, I'll carry it myself. What the hell? Let me carry it. I'll open the door. No, I can do it myself. I understand. It's that autonomy. It's wanting to be stronger. It's wanting to be healthier. But when you're alone, you can do everything because you have no choice. If somebody's offering you, take it. I can do this. So, as a finale to this, all of us wonderful, marvelous elders, wisdom holders, what did Ben Franklin, we grow too soon old and too late wise. We got to make him wrong, right? So on my mom's 90th birthday, I asked her how it felt to be 90, and without even stopping, she turned and said to me, "It went so fast," as this has, as it's going, okay? Old age is an opportunity. Old age ain't for everybody. We are so lucky to have it, and it's really important that we use it well because everything is going to change. I will not have this body in 5 years, and I certainly won't have it in 10. As my orthopedic surgeon said to me last year, "You have terrible arthritis in your spine." I'm doing Pilates and yoga because that's one thing I can do to adapt to that and stay ahead of it. My knees hurt, and I asked Phil for his orthopedic doctor's name. It's a little trite, but today is the first day of the rest of our lives. And I suggest you make younger friends. I visit my 90-year-olds and they say, "All my friends are dead." Make younger friends. And the moral of the story is a lot of hugs and dessert every day. And the best thing about us being older and alive and well is that we can begin again.